darlings, and welcome back once again to another interesting, intriguing, and most importantly, educative and mind-blowing episode right here on the stable of Vibes Upon Vibes with you guys. I know you'll be wondering what's going on. Like, yes, everything is fine and we are outside, and that's why I felt like, okay, let me just quickly do this intro to this video that we are about to react to. But before then, if you're yet to like, share, and subscribe and all those good stuff, guys, kindly hit on the like, share, and subscribe button at the end of the day if you actually do. And straight up into the point, we're not going to be wasting much of your time, because the stories and experience of the people we are going to be sharing today is mind-blowing, is emotional, educative, and entertaining. Trust Chivik to always give you premium quality for your time and your effort. Exactly. Yes, guys. First off is a Black American who found his roots, returned home, and at the end of the day is doing massive, amazing, and mind-blowing things in connecting like minds of Black Americans, other Black Americans who are rooted to the motherland Ghana. Yes, he's been doing a lot, and he still has a lot to do, and he has come to tell us everything in depthly how he would do that, his story, his experience, and his history. We'll take a look at that and we'll be right back.
I am ready to be your next mayor. I am ready to be your next mayor. The election is tomorrow. The election is tomorrow. I was born and raised on that. I was born and raised on that. Went to Latino. Vinegar. And graduated from Tri-Cities High School.
This is Mayor Kobe, a man of the people, the mayor of South Fulton, Georgia, known as the blackest city in America with the highest percentage of Black people living there. He's in Ghana on a journey to connect the diaspora across continents. Hello, my name is Ivy Prosper, and I tell stories from Africa and the African diaspora. Today, I am really excited because the mayor of South Fulton, Georgia, known as Mayor Kobe, is here in Ghana. And I'm really excited because he has an important message. He is all about bringing the diaspora together with Africa, talking about how we can come together as a people, build our economy, grow. What can people in the diaspora do that can help people in Africa? What can Africans do that can help people in the diaspora? We're a community that has been disjointed for hundreds of years, and now is the time for us to come together. I'm really excited also because South Fulton, you may not know, is known as the blackest city in America. Did you know that? I know I didn't until I recently heard about him. About a month ago is when I heard about South Fulton, Georgia, because I always thought of Detroit as being the blackest city in America. So this is going to be an exciting conversation. He has a lot to say about his experience here in Ghana, as well as what we can do as a community to come together to build and grow. Mayor Kobe, Akwaba. Welcome to Ghana.
Aye. Is it aye?
Welcome. Oh, you were trying to say Eye. That's like when I ask, how are you doing? If say Etiseng.
Etiseng.
Yes. So Akwaba
is welcome.
Is welcome. A lot of you watching may know Akwaba in Ghana is welcome. And they don't really talk about the response often.
Yes,
so let's talk about it. So Akwaba, if it's an elder, like a grandparent or a parent, you would respond by saying, if it's a woman, Yena.
Yena.
Yes. And if it's a man who's an elder, you would say Yeja.
Yeja.
But if it's someone who's your peer, you know, or younger, you'd be like Yenya.
Yenya.
Yes.
Yenya.
Yes.
Yenya.
Yes. Yes. So a lot of people don't know that. And then Akwaba, being welcome, is known around the world for Ghana. And it's Akan. So the Akan people are from the Ashanti region, the Eastern region, the Central region, and they're the ones who, the Akwaba comes from the Akan languages,
yes.
The Tree language. But then you have other regions that people don't often talk about, like the Volta region. They would say, the Ewe would say Wezo for welcome.
Yes.
There's also the Gan people, and I always forget how the Gan say it. But anyway, I just want to mention that so that people take the time to learn about the other cultures in Ghana. Yes. So I'm really, really excited to talk to you today. You are somebody who's making a huge impact when it comes to the Black community. You really are. When I first heard about you a month ago, I had heard your name before, and I had started following you on Instagram, but I didn't know a lot of details, and I didn't know that South Fulton was the blackest city in America, like by percentage.
Yes.
I always thought that it would have been Detroit.
At one time it was.
Yeah, so when I was like, oh, really? That's interesting. So I'm glad to have you here today. I want to know first what you were doing before you got into politics, because I'm always curious as to what brings someone to go into politics, run for office.
You know, it's I've always been in politics. Mm-hmm. My
mother was a nurse, and then she retired as a VP for the biggest hospital system in Atlanta. So first of all, those of y'all who don't know, South Fulton is Atlanta's twin city. We're right next to Atlanta. And a lot of the people that you associate with Atlanta, from Ludacris to Candy and the Housewives to even Representative, the former Congressman John Lewis, all live in South Fulton.
So they're actually from South Fulton and not Atlanta.
They're actually from South Fulton and not Atlanta. And they still live in South Fulton,
okay.
Not Atlanta.
It's like people saying they're from New York and they may be from like New Rochelle or something. Like
or people saying they're from Accra and they're, from the Accra region, but they're not actually, in the city. So my father was an accountant for every mayor of Atlanta, from Maynard Jackson to Kasim Reed. So an interesting fact about Atlanta, a lot of people know Atlanta or the ATL, people call it sort of the capital of Black America.
Yeah.
It has had over 50 years now, over 5 decades of continuous Black leadership. It is the only city in America that has had 50 years of Black mayors. And in that 50 years, we have created the largest Black group of millionaires, the largest number of university students, Black university students, the largest number of Black-owned businesses, the world's busiest airport, and the Olympics. We brought the Olympics. So all of that happened under Black leadership. So that was it's not only part of my heritage, but I've found that it's also a part of my DNA. So the way that I ended up in Ghana, two things. On a political level, I've been traveling the diaspora, really promoting the city of South Fulton. It began as it really was born out of economic development. So our city was never really meant to be a city. We were a suburb. So we were like a suburb of Atlanta. And we were unincorporated, and we just kept getting the short end of the stick from the county when it came to services, infrastructure, economic development. So 7 years ago, we basically became our own city. We took that leap of independence to become our own city. And then as I was trying to do economic development, I was going to these different conferences and I was talking to these different businesses. We have great demographics in South Fulton. Median family income is $84,000. It's higher than Atlanta, or it's high for the metro area. We have a 67% home ownership rate.
That's high.
It is one of the highest in the nation across all demographics.
Wow.
So 2 out of 3 people in South Fulton own their own homes. Yet and still, when I was trying to reach out to these Fortune 500 companies, it was like pulling teeth to get them to see the value in South Fulton. And I started hearing from, economic development directors and commercial real estate folks that for decades, whenever we were trying to get a business to come to South Fulton, it was always this tug of war, was always this pulling of teeth to get them to come, and then they would come and open a store, and they would be the #1 store in the network. We have like the highest grossing Chick-fil-A, the highest grossing Arden's Garden, like whoever comes, it ends up being like one of the highest grossing in the region. And so then I said, I'm going to stop chasing people who are not interested in us, right? I'm going to do business with our people and people who are interested in us. So it really started with that. I really started looking at companies that had a lot of business with Black America. They had a lot of Black American consumers. And I was saying, if you were selling to Black America, the place to be is South Fulton. And people started hearing this message. I started talking about, I was the one that coined the phrase, the blackest city in America. I was doing research. I come out of the Black Lives Matter movement. And the movement for Black Lives, I was one of the first people elected I was one of the first activists that was elected out of that movement. And the way that it happened is I was living in Atlanta, the sister city at the time. And when this city formed, because I had been born and raised here, we had moved beyond just talking about police brutality to creating a holistic political platform. It encompassed housing, women's rights, education, all of these issues. And I went to my comrades and I said, if there were ever a place that we could roll this platform out, it's going to be in this new city of South Fulton. I was like, I didn't know it was going to be the blackest, but because I grew up there, I said, it's going to be hella Black.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started doing my research, my demographic research, I found out through actually the Georgia Municipal Association, which represents all of the Georgia cities, that we were the blackest. And so as I started to promote that, people from around the world started to invite me places. First, it was Business Africa in Paris. Then I got an invitation to Cali, which is the blackest city in Colombia, which has that country has the fourth largest African population. And so then my thoughts about economic development became global. And I started saying, there is not just this black American market, but there is a market of millions and millions of people in the diaspora. We need to be tapping in, to that. And so that's how I ended up traveling the diaspora. About 6 months ago, I took my African ancestry DNA test, and I found out that I was Akan. And then I started seeing how this is actually in my DNA. Everybody from Kofi Annan to Kwame Nkrumah, come out of the Akan, and it's that's why I just think doing this DNA research is so powerful, because I realized that this interest in like the political uplift of my people extended beyond just the generations of family that I knew about to all the way back here. And so I really had to come here and meet my ancestors.
When you say Akan, I think like when I look at you, I know some guys from the central region who have like your facial features. Yeah, so you could be from the central region.
I really, in my heart of hearts, I really believe I'm Fanti.
And that's the central region, yeah.
Yes, I came here, trying to figure that out. I ended up with a group of brothers, Ewe brothers, who are great from the Volta region, and some people from the eastern region, but I was looking around the village and I was like, I don't see people who look like me. And I've been studying Akan religions, and the name for God, which really spoke to me, was Onyame, which is a Fanti word. And then I found out that they were from the sea. And the entire time, I kept telling, my hosts, I need to go to the sea. I need to go to the sea. So when I found that out, yes, I believe those are my people.
That's good. It's always interesting when I meet people from the diaspora who come to Ghana for the first time, and they talk about having these like spiritual connections. They feel like they can tell where they're gravitating towards. When you got to the central region and you felt like that with the sea, was there anything in particular that was really like overcoming?
Oh my God, yeah. Of course I went to the slave castles, and I really thought I would be the most emotional there. But they took me to the river, the slave river.
That's Asin Manso.
Asin Manso, and where folks take their last bath. And there's two sides to the river. There's the side where people took their last bath, and there's a side where people, take what they call their ancestral bath to return. And I was like, first, I need to go to this side. And I just wept. There's a video coming. But it was so heavy. You go down this path, they ask you if you want to walk it barefoot. I walked it barefoot. And this is my third trip to Africa, to the continent. My first trip was 30 years ago.
So where did you go 30 years ago?
South Africa.
Okay.
I was in university. I studied post-apartheid politics. I went when they were doing the Truth and Reconciliation. But there I really learned about, we in the West, we call it ancestor worship, but it's really just ancestor acknowledgement, ancestor awareness. And my mom passed my first month in office.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And thank you. And in my family, whenever somebody dies, they come and visit in our dreams. And so my aunts were all saying, like, she's going to come and visit in your dreams. And about a month later, she started showing up, and sometimes I will say she never talks, but it's just a presence. Like I'm there and we're hanging out, and I wake up in tears because I'm just like, she's, when someone's in the room, you might not be touching them, but you can feel them in the room. You know what that feels like. And since then, she has spoken to me in my waking hours, and other ancestors have spoken to me. And in that river, I heard so many voices. I received so much wisdom that things I can't even talk about. Like, I'm not ready to talk about yet. I visited Kwame Nkrumah's memorial, and I sat there for about an hour, and he spoke to me. I heard so many.
Wow.
I heard so many things, and so it's just the land, the earth is like just so rich. The soil is just rich with ancestors, and I get so much from them just being here.
There was a time when we went to the Slave River with some travelers who were in town, and there was a camera guy who was filming some of them that was hired, and he was standing in the water filming as they were walking into the Slave River, and the camera guy was like, he felt like like something spiritual in the water for himself too, and he's Ghanaian, and he at first was like, he doesn't understand the diaspora when they come and they talk about this feeling of ancestors and all that, because he's born and raised in Ghana, but that particular day he said he actually felt this heaviness of a spirit in the water, and like his legs, at a point he felt like he couldn't move his leg because he felt like somebody was holding his legs in the water.
Wow.
So there definitely is something that is very real.
Yeah, and there's even a science. I don't know if you know this field of epigenetics. It's a new field in science, but they talk about how trauma can actually change the shape of your cells, and they've studied descendants of slavery, like 400 years of trauma. Even they started from a purely medical. A lot of the things that we suffer from in the United States, hypertension, high blood pressure, diabetes, a lot of that is traced to the genetics and the tension that we. And so it's literally trapped in our cells, and it's been inherited from just 20 generations of that. And you feel all of that in the river. And I have to say, I really did feel a release. I went, they say you can go stand in the river. I went all the way in. I went all the way in.
You went all the way in?
I went all the way in.
You went under?
Head
Everything.
first. I had to put my whole body in the river because I had to wash all of that off of me, and even now, I've
never gone all the way in. I've walked maybe like up to here, but I've not gone all the way in.
I mean, I think if you are an American African, maybe even a Canadian African, definitely, like you gotta go all the way in. You gotta get that stuff off of you. Like
it's like a moment of completion, or like a new beginning.
It's a baptism. It is being born again, and just to. It's one thing to come home, and this is really a message that I would want to give to a lot of American Africans. I like to call them American Africans. Don't bring your stuff back here. Like I think therapists will tell you, like, when you go into a relationship, you don't bring your baggage into this like new relationship. And I think it's so spiritually, it is so critical. If you are coming back here to return, if you're coming back here to engage with this culture, you got to wash all of that off, and just really let yourself be clean and open to all that this is, whether it's Ghana, Senegal, Liberia, wherever your people are from. When you get off the plane, you got to get to a river and just wash all that off.
Wow, that's deep. And when I hear you talk, it's a reminder as to why a lot of the diaspora coming from the Americas, so North America and South America, choose to come to Ghana, because for some reason it's like there's this spiritual thing that's hanging over this country, really. I know that there's a lot of West African countries that were part of the transatlantic slave trade, but Ghana had about 70% of the slave forts that people were shuttled out were actually on the coast of Ghana. There's only a few left now because a lot of them have fallen apart or been destroyed. But
Ghana has also been at the forefront of preservation.
Right, I was just going to say that, preserving it so people can come and see the history. I think the sites also being declared heritage sites also helps in the preservation of them too. And then the fact that people tell the stories from generation to generations, because there's a lot of people who tell the stories and understand what happened. So I'm glad that you've been able to have this experience, because I think it helps in what you're doing. I had a whole list of questions I wanted to ask you, but I'm liking the way that this is just flowing as a natural conversation. What I want to know is, now that you've had this experience, what are you going to bring back to the community of South Fulton when you go back there and talk about what you've experienced in Ghana?
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be raw. We're having this raw moment. There was a part of me that didn't want to go back. And I even remember when I was going to Cape Coast, they took me to the river first, and then they were taking me to the slave castle. And I said, oh, y'all are doing this wrong. Like, you should go to the castle first, walk back through the door of no return, back through the door of return, and then go to the river. This is the order that it's always done. And I will say, one of my guides made this really powerful point that, like, you need to be spiritually inoculated before you go to the slave castle, because it's so heavy, and so this was like supposed to inoculate me, and I must say it did. Like, I felt things, but it didn't destroy me. Like, I have been looking forward to, longing and dreading, seeing these places and seeing this door of no return. And I thought I would just crumple in the door and just, and I was fortified, so I get it. But on my way there, when I was like, oh, I thought we were going to the castles first. They're like, no, we're going to go to the baths first. I was like, so you're going to make me go through the baths and then make me go through the door. You're going to make me relive this trauma that's already in my cells from 20 generations of enslaved folks. So in the United States, our elections, and let me say it's different in every state. It's crazy. It is one of the things that I think makes American democracy so hard to corrupt. Though people are working really hard to do it, but that like elections are so individualized. Every state does it differently. Every counties and states, and some states can do it. I mean, there's 10,000 different ways of doing it. But in Georgia, in my state, local elections are odd years. State and national elections are even years. So every year there's an election.
Oh.
Every year there's an election. It's good and bad. But my election for mayor, so our mayors are not appointed. I understand. I met with the mayor of out here, but our mayors are not appointed. We have to run for office, and our elections are in odd years. So my election is next year. I had not announced that I was going to run for office because my first term, particularly the first 2 years of this term, were just so horrible. I faced so much resistance.
Why do you think that is?
Because I'm a change agent, because I wasn't supposed to, no one thought I would win. On my council, there's seven of us. There's 8 with me, so it's the mayor and 7 council people. 5 out of the 7 council people publicly endorsed the previous mayor who I beat. Just no one thought I would win. He had been not only mayor for 4 years, but before that, when we were in the county, he was over that area of the county. So he'd been in power
for a long time,
for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't want to do it again. I don't want to do it again.
So you're not going to run again? Or you're not sure? You're not announcing anything yet?
I will announce on the show I am going to run again.
You're going to run again?
I'm going to run again. I'm going to run again because I had to. I look at when I visited Nkrumah's memorial, one of the things that was whispered to me is that there's nothing that I am going through that great African leaders have not gone through for generations. There are certain people in America or the West will say, Africa's so corrupt, they have all these bad leaders. It's because we killed all the good ones, and I want to say
that part.
Western intelligence agencies, the CIA, MI5, 6, whatever, were instrumental in the assassinations of Sankura, of the ousting of Nkrumah. The list goes on and on, right? You can Google it. But there was a whole generation of leadership that was just wiped out by coups and assassinations. And some of the leaders that we in the West call dictators, people like President Rawlings, people like Rwanda's president, who's been there, whose name escapes me right now. He's been in power for 30 years. It takes decades to turn around a society that is just so set in its ways, even if those ways don't benefit the people, even if the people themselves are being oppressed. You can go back to the Bible. The Israelites, when they were leaving Egypt, they would encounter these hardships and they would say, oh, let's go back to Egypt, we had it better there. So it's liberating the minds of people is generational work. It's not something that you do in a term, and right. You certainly can't encounter hardships and think, I'm going to run off. I mean, there was.
Now, guys, I believe at this point you've really gotten a backstory and an understanding of what it means when people find their roots back home and are in love with their roots and are trying to connect, trying to relate, trying to expand, establish, and every amazing thing whatsoever you can imagine. So that aside is another story of a Ugandan, yes, a Uganda lady who has a story to share, her story to share with us based off her experience in Uganda down to the motherland Ghana, and why she is happy with the motherland and is definitely comfortable, convenient living in the motherland. Let's take her story again and we'll be right back.
Do the best we can.
We are going to do the best we can.
And when we are tired,
we
will take a pause.
We will take a pause.
We will self-reflect.
And
if we need a moment to breathe,
or two,
we're going to do it. Regardless of who's around us, or where we are. And then I take a deep breath in, and I release.
Hello, my name is Ivy Prosper, and I tell stories from Africa and the African diaspora. Today, I am with an amazing woman. She is Coach Shuka, originally from Uganda and a fellow Canadian, and she's here in Ghana. And she's making an impact in so many different ways. I'm looking forward to having this conversation with her. It is long overdue. We met each other in Canada, and she's been coming to Ghana over the last, a year and a half to 2 years. And it's been a really great thing to see her here in Ghana and, carving her own lane right here in this country. So I'm looking forward to this conversation, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I am going to. Coach Shuka, I am so excited that you were able to join me today on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I know this wasn't planned. No, I have to say this was not planned. When you're doing content, when you're doing a show, you're filming, sometimes you're trying to do multiple interviews in a day. Sometimes people can't make it. You never know what can happen. And it happened to be that she was free this afternoon and we connected and she's here. So we're having this chat. I'm really excited.
And I love speaking to you. So this is just, I couldn't say no. Let's do this.
Thank you. One of the things that people do not know is, I mean, some of you know who she is, some of you don't, and you may not know that she is an award-winning entrepreneur. Yes.
Yeah.
And an author of 2 books.
3.
Was it 3? Oh, 2. Oh, book.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that today. Things that you do, talk about your books, the 2 previous, and then your latest one that is coming out. Yeah. So first of all, introduce yourself. I know I said you're an award-winning entrepreneur, but share a little bit more about what you do.
No, that's perfect way to start. I am Coach Shuka, born in Uganda during the Civil War, and survived the Civil War in many different things. I reside in Toronto, but hopefully not for too long because I really love it here. And I am an award-winning entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for 21 years.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I'm an award-winning photographer, and I'm an award-winning leader, and I take great pride in all 3. It's been 21 years that I've been an entrepreneur, almost a serial entrepreneur, but it's funny how purpose finds you when you're doing the things you love.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so in a nutshell, that is me. I'm also an author and a wellness coach and a wellness influencer.
You're doing so much.
I do a lot.
Tell us the names of your books so people want to buy them.
So my first book, Becoming Warrior, published in 2016. My second book was a co-written piece with some beautiful sisters in Atlanta, published in 2019. Yes, I'm trying to get it right. And my latest book is Awaken Your Highness, which was just published and launching here in Ghana.
And that's so cool that you're doing your launch in Ghana. What made you decide to do the launch here?
You know, everything is very purposeful for me. I'm very intentional with where I place my foot and sow seeds. And I think that when you are purposeful from the very beginning, it's in sync. It's in sync with destiny. And so not only was the cover of the book shot here in Ghana at the beach, which I absolutely love.
I love the picture.
Thank you. I just, wanted to share the strength of a woman while still being soft. So you see the collision of both. And Ghana, because not only do I love Ghana, but I really, I'm here for the connections. I'm here for the way it makes my soul feel. I'm already an African-born person. Mm-hmm. So Africa is my, this is my plate.
Yeah.
But Ghana does something different. And I feel like because of how deep this book is and what I really needed to say, the great feeling of heritage and royalty.
Now, being a woman who is actually a daughter of the soil of Africa and talking about how much you love Ghana, do you think your Uganda brothers and sisters are going to say something like, wait, what about us over here?
They have already said something. They have definitely already vocalized that, and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because being a daughter of the soil doesn't just bring me to just that one place. And I've given years upon years to Uganda. I've been there, I've served there, and I'm not done there. And there's so many parts in Africa. And sometimes I feel like it's like that in Uganda, where we're behind on how we think of mental well-being. And so it's not that I don't have the patience to wait on them, and I have, right? When something is such a struggle, it's almost, it makes you ask yourself, does it have to be this much of a struggle?
Right.
So when you experience a smooth transaction, like it's just smooth, that's something I can not shoot.
Yeah, I can imagine. So you've maintained your youthfulness, and not only in what you look like, but in your spirit and all the things that you do. What do you think it is that helps you maintain that? Because you talk a lot about mental health and well-being. Is there something that you're doing that helps you to keep going?
Mm-hmm. I truly believe that when you are healing from your past, your traumas, your childhood traumas, and also just understanding your walk as an adult, when you understand, maybe I can say no to this. I don't have to go. I don't have to put myself through something I don't need to put myself through. It's learning to understand my body, hear my body, and also not force myself to do something because everybody's doing it. That saves me a lot, right? Because that's saving me from this feeling of I'm here, but I don't want to be here. And it's important to understand that when you put yourself on a journey to heal and to be well, it does something for your skin. It does something for your soul. Now, other than that, I do love avocados.
So do I.
So I put it everywhere.
Oh, you spread avocado everywhere. Oh,
I love avocados. That's something I learned when I was pregnant. I just rub it on my belly. I love avocados. So you can give it to me in any which way and I'll take it.
That's a good tip.
Yeah, so avocados. And also I love to be around young people. I have 2 older young people. They make me laugh. So for me to have a conversation with them means that I have to learn what they love. I have to understand the culture of today. Because, it's changed.
It's hard. Yeah.
So, I'm very much engrossed in culture when it comes to our youth, our young people. They keep me up. We're able to have those conversations and I forget sometimes.
That's good. So you talk a lot about healing, and I'm thinking about the fact that you talked about being a survivor of the Civil War in Uganda. How did you and your family manage to leave Uganda to end up in Canada?
It was a journey, like a really long journey. I'll give you the short version. The longer version can be found in Becoming Warrior.
And they can find it on Amazon?
Absolutely, Amazon, online. So
I'll put the link in the description for those so that people can look for it.
Yeah, perfect. So I was born in Uganda, and born to my father Ugandan and my mother was Anglo-Indian. So we were back and forth a lot. And during the time was the Civil War, and it was 1984. I'm dating myself. And it was 1984. I'm dating myself. 1984, and we, being Ugandan, you couldn't leave the country, so we were there, my father, myself, and my brother. And it was some intense days of curfews and bombings and gunfire. Yeah, just some intense days of just everything happening. And, you know, I write about being locked up in a small room, which is the washroom, the restroom. But I guess if you want to think of like your walk-in closet, yeah, that size, and having to be there and be quiet while the soldiers came through our streets, and just really just senseless killing. We stayed in that room for 3 days, 3 nights. We couldn't say anything as kids, you know, like it's not easy, but I knew what was happening. And I asked my father, you know, are we going to die? It seemed like that's what was happening. We could hear women and children screaming, gunfire, you know, from morning to night. My dad told me, just close your eyes. Close your eyes. He asked me to put my head on his lap. He said, close your eyes and just think of yourself when you're older. And I did. I closed my eyes and I imagined me older. I thought of a world that was peaceful and full of love. And I saw myself older. And, you know, it didn't change what I heard around me, but it's the moment that I had the opportunity to visualize a future past dying. And in that moment, that's all I could think of, like as I'm older, you know, what I'm doing. And after those days, the nights were over, we came out of that room and outside was dusty, rich soil risen to the sky and just dead bodies everywhere. Neighbors, just, it was horrible. And we made our way to my father's village. We stayed there till my uncle was able to get us on a plane. And we were going to head to meet my mother, who was not with us. And we heard she was in India somewhere. And I'm a child, so I'm hearing what the adults are saying. Right. I don't know the plan. And we get to India, and she's not there. And she was sold, she was trafficked to some sheikhs in the Middle East. And so we get to India, and I can see the devastation on my father's face, and I can see the adults around us. We looked hopeless. And for 3 years, I lived in India till we figured out where my mom was. And then one day, my father did hear from my mom. She had escaped to a Catholic church where she found refuge, and the priest was going to help us get out. In the 3 years, I'd experienced verbal abuse. I had been sexually abused. I'd been just everything that could happen to a little girl that's not protected. And my job was to protect my brother. So much had happened in those 3 years. But after those 3 years, we were reunited in the Middle East, Bahrain, which is a very tiny island in the Middle East. And seeing my mom for the first time was special. It was hard to call her mom because I hadn't seen her in so long. And as a family, we were reunited and had to now pick up the pieces of everyone's traumas. And just now I'm 7 years old and life looks good. It's amazing. I like it this way. And not too long after that, it was 1990, and that was the Gulf War. Yes, yeah, that's right. And everything just came rushing back to me. The PTSD of gunfire, soldiers, missiles, everything. And we stayed glued in our homes. Couldn't leave our homes. We stayed glued to CNN, BBC, just to know what was happening. And that was hard because I didn't ever understand what PTSD was till I got older. But when you have to go through an experience like that again, it's now like almost more traumatizing, you know? And so after we survived that war, my family decided that we can't stay here. It's time to move somewhere neutral and let's go for Canada. My parents got a book. I read it. Canada's cold. I don't know if I want to go. It's cold there. The Middle East is hot. Exactly. And I was like, what do people look like there? You know? And so it was just like, let's learn life all over again. And in 1994, we moved to Canada as a family.
How did that feel after going through everything, you've gone through, and then now to be in a new place that essentially is a completely different culture from the places that you had lived?
So finally, I wouldn't just let this slide. Is another black star, African American, that has come to the motherland to initiate and revive, rekindle in the young stars of the motherland. With the NFL soccer team, soccer activities to instill, train, coach them to becoming the very best when it comes to sporting activities, soccer and all whatnot. They had a very nice section, yes, with one of our very own, Ivy. Yes, this lady has been doing amazing stuff as well. All credit to her. All credit to her. Go to her YouTube channel, Ivy, at Ivy on YouTube. You will really get a lot of premium quality of her videos in what she's doing in connecting African Americans that have been lost and are coming back, tracing their roots back to the motherland. Connect with her and you really enjoy it there. So let's take a look at that scenario, how it played out a few days ago in the motherland, and we'll be right back.
Jeremiah Usu-Komura, who plays for the Cleveland Browns, is in Ghana doing another one of his football camps for young people. Over 100 youth are here today and tomorrow to come and enjoy themselves and to learn from some of the best NFL players out there. They are privileged to learn from these men who are just giving back to the community. This is a great way to help build the leaders of tomorrow, because sports is more than playing a game. It is actually teaching you discipline. It is giving you life skills. Now, this camp is called the Nkwa Ghana Camp 2024. And Nkwa, what does it mean? Natural, knowledge, wisdom, and affirmation, teaching the young people all of those things through sports. This is an exciting weekend, and we can't wait to take you through what's happening. Hey, guys, we'll bring up right now, right? So we're here at the Nkwa Ghana camp. The kids are coming to get skills in football, American football, because we know in Ghana, in football, they talk about soccer. This is American football, and we're excited that these players are here to come and coach these kids to learn the skills of the sport, because, you know, NFL Africa coming together, we're seeing so much change happen. It's giving kids the opportunities they may not have had before. So I am here with one of the young men who's here to coach these kids who's come all the way from the U.S.
Yep.
Tell me why you wanted to be part of this.
The reason I wanted to be a part of this because I realized that from a Pan-Africanist point of view, we all kind of share the same bloodline. You know, I was recently doing some research on, you know, the slave trade, and I realized that, you know, most of the slaves that came over, my descendants were West Africans, Igbo tribe, so mainly Nigeria, but I'm sure Ghana was a part of that as well. But regardless, I just feel a family connection, and I wanted to come and, you know, be a part of this because the game I love so much. I just know that there are a lot of kids here who have the same ability and talent that I had, as far as, you know, the melanin and what that chemical does in our bodies. It's truly remarkable. So I wanted to come and, you know, help teach the fundamentals of the game, to help progress it internationally, and, you know, in hopes that some of these kids can grasp hold to it and, you know, hopefully see a future in the NFL one day.
And you're in the NFL how many years now?
I'm going on my 10th year.
Wow.
Yeah, I know I look young. I know.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, you play for?
I play for the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, me and Jeremiah, the guy who's hosting this camp, we play for the same team.
How long have you been playing together?
I've only been playing for the Cleveland Browns 2 years, but I'm going on my 3rd. Yeah.
Okay. And so he was able to inspire you to come?
Yes, 100%. Jeremiah, one thing about him, he's a very good leader. He's a guy who, you know, there's a road, you have the opportunity to go left, right, he's going to go straight. You know what I'm saying? So he's kind of a trailblazer in that manner.
Jeremiah invited some of his colleagues from the NFL, including fellow teammates, to help with coaching the youth at the camp. For some, it was their first time coming to Ghana, and they were blessed to have an experienced coach with decades of experience coaching them. Here with one of the coaches that was helping the young people today learn all about playing American football, because here in Ghana, football is soccer, and I know that the kids really, really loved everything that they learned from you. You have a world of experience. You said you started in 1987, before any of these kids were born. So what made you decide to come to Ghana? First of all, I should ask you, is this your first time in Ghana?
This is my first time in Ghana.
Okay.
Yes.
And then what made you decide to join the camp with Jeremiah to do this?
First and foremost, you know, any event that I've interacted with Jeremiah has always been successful. So for him to constantly invite me and ask me to come join him with an event with these young men, you know, is a blessing. So I honor that blessing, and I tell you, nothing I can think about, fathom, is any way possible is close to the energy and the excitement of actually being here, looking in their face, seeing the passion and their reaction to everything you do, the ability to absorb the knowledge, apply it, the unity, the love you feel on this field is amazing, and there's no other way that you can replace this. So no thought process I had coming over here could possibly, there's no way possibly it could be anyway to what it actually feels on the inside of me. As I sign their jerseys, I look in their face and they tell me they love it, and I tell them I love them because I truly feel that way. So yes, it's definitely worth being here.
That's beautiful.
I love it.
This is your first time in Ghana. What's the experience been like so far?
Absolutely amazing. When I say absolutely amazing, from the moment I got off the plane, the greeting at the airport, the constant escort, with the safety evolution is just ensuring that we got here safe inside, and the whole energy of being here, everyone from going into the apartment, going out to dinner, everybody you just feel the love each and every moment, and that's something that you want to endure on your day-to-day life. So it's been absolutely amazing.
That's good. And I hear today's your birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
I'm actually turned 56 today. I kind of feel like I'm 25. I felt that way when the camp started, but as it got older, I felt who I am. But no, this is amazing. The energy was electrifying. Those young men, the resiliency, as they go on through the camps, the one-on-ones, and then when they were doing the actual 707, to hear them communicate, some of the communication and technical skill set, the things that we were telling them yesterday was actually translated. So that just showed the ability of them to absorb the knowledge and being able to apply it in a short time frame. So
it's amazing because some of them said they've never played before.
Right, and they was out there talking the talk, playing the game the way it should be played. So
yeah.
That's
good. That's good. Thank you so much for coming out.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
Enjoy your birthday.
I thank y'all for having me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey!
The African continent is especially important to the NFL and its new NFL Africa because many of these youth would have never played this game, with football, known as soccer in North America, being a preferred sport in Africa. But this American football is slowly becoming more popular. Young people are beginning to love this game. Camps like this will support the NFL's vision of expanding into international markets. NFL Africa will likely be recruiting from the next generation of football talent across the continent using camps just like this.
I'm Benjamin Luka Keynes. I'm the age of 21 and I played for Imbotep.
And what was the highlight of the weekend for you?
The highlight was actually the game. We got to learn more and we got exposed to new attitudes and new experience that I think will help us in the future. Yeah.
Did it live up to your expectations?
Oh yeah, it was great. I mean, I loved the welcome. All the celebrities, they welcomed us. They taught us a lot, which I really appreciate, and I thank them for that. Yeah.
Is there any one thing that you remember the most that you learned?
Yeah.
Is there any one thing that you remember the most that you learned?
I think with the throwing, I was taught how to throw the ball better. So I think now I'm better at throwing.
Good, fantastic.
Yeah,
Thank
you very much.
Your defense, one-on-one. Corner and take it. Your defense first. Hey family, bring it in. Come to Stu. Hey family, I'll do.
Now the team was Ya Santua, and I noticed the teams all had significant names on them. What did you think about that, for that to be the team names?
Actually, looking at the fact that those individual names represented people who played significant role in where we are right now, I think they just have to do it that way so that we have that kind of competition among us.
Were there any team names that you didn't know?
Yes, please. Ida, B-Walls, and some other names.
Okay, so it was a learning lesson for all of you. It was educated for all of you as well.
I learned a lot, actually.
Have you played American football before?
This is my first time, actually. And I'm even surprised and I'm happy about the fact that it took only 2 days for us to get on the field to do the actual thing. They're good.
That's good. So you enjoyed it?
I enjoyed it.
Would you come back next year?
Always. I'll be always to learn. And the thing is, when I get back home, in my free time, I'll try and practice more so that next time when I come here, I'm going to have it a lot more easier and I can play the role.
Good. I'm glad you had a good time.
Thank you.
There are so many young people here excited to play football and to learn from some of the best players from the NFL. I'm here with Caleb. Caleb, right?
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 14.
14. Have you always wanted to play this sport?
I mean, yeah, basketball and NFL.
Okay, so when you heard about this camp, what made you decide that you wanted to come?
So honestly, my mom was telling me about NFL players, how they were coming to Ghana, and I was like, that's cool. And then this morning, I actually didn't know. My mom just woke me up and was like, oh, you're going to an NFL camp. I was like, yo. And I got up, I started getting ready, and I just came. I made some friends here, and they're also very excited to get this opportunity too, so it was nice.
That's great. So your mom woke you up this morning?
Like I had no idea I was coming here today. I thought I was gonna go play basketball or something, and my mom just woke me up like, yo. I'm like, okay.
Wow, that's really cool. Okay, so you're
sport. As a kid, I played it a little bit, but I want to get to know the sport. I also want to meet some of the players that I recognize here.
Great. Have fun. So amongst all the men was this one young lady this weekend for the camp, and she also won an award. They acknowledged her for being the only female here and all of the hard work that she did. How does it feel?
I'm so excited. Actually, I'm just proud of myself. Yeah, to be just the only lady among guys, like TikTok guys. I'm so warmed. Thank you.
Yeah, you really held your own ground. Like I saw you out there running around and just making the moves and really following the instructions that they were teaching you. What was something that you learned? Like one of the moves. What was one of the moves? I know I saw a lot of this stuff like this. Like what was something that really has stuck with you that you know you're gonna keep practicing?
Actually pulling the flags.
Pulling the flags.
Yeah, pulling the flags, like tagging your opponent, like focusing on the person and like just going wherever the person goes here. So that's what I've actually taken so far. Yeah.
Okay. And then every team had a name that was representing someone in history. And I know there's some names that people didn't know. Was there any of the names that you did not know that you learned?
Actually, I actually know of them because I was here last year and it was here, so it wasn't new to me.
Okay. So when you did hear it for the first time last year?
Yeah, Santua was my team.
Yeah, Santua was your team. And then was there any name that you didn't know that you learned from them?
Actually, I can't recall.
You can't recall. Okay. And do you think it's important to have these kinds of names for people?
Oh, of course. They are big men, so we need to have those names.
There's more than men.
I mean, women. Sorry, my bad.
In addition to those underrated, like this young lady.
Finally, guys, it's been an amazing and wonderful section, I must tell you, and I am impressed. I am really impressed, and at the same time, I'm happy that so many people are finding and tracing their roots. You will not understand what it was during the time of slavery, the colonial masters taking away our people, and so many lives were lost, so many people were gone, and the remaining which are yet to finding their roots, and those that have found their roots is a story that should inspire so many people out there, whether you are a Ghanaian, a non-Ghanaian, an African, as long as you are an African, because everybody that is an African is expected that they find and trace their roots, no matter what, whether you want to remain in your country, your motherland or not. At the end of the day, know where you belong, go there, rekindle, be cleansed and initiated by the gods of the land, according to how they say it, right? Yes, it is what it is, and that is it, guys, for what we have for today. I would love to hear your feedbacks, your input and your opinions. Leave them all down in the comment section, exactly, and let's have this conversation rolling. Keep it lively, constructively and respectfully down in the comment section. Yes, until then, I will see you in my next one, but for now, keep vibing to environment, nature and all those good stuff. But please, if you're yet to like, if you've not liked, where are you going to now? Please, I beg of you, kindly hit on the like button, share and subscribe if you're not, and I will see you in my next one. But for now, ciao.